There is only one mistake to avoid, ever. And I know I should sugarcoat you and say anything but the answer right now to make you stay until the end of the video where I review my discovery. But I'm so impatient to share it with you, and wow, if you stay until the end of the video and maybe even leave a like, you do, and I will be endlessly happy. But if not, at least I have it shared with you and now you know it. There is only one mistake to avoid. Stop thinking you're making mistakes. Hi, I'm Alexandra and this is Brave New World. The thought of mistake has a negative vibration and association with other negative thoughts, and eventually they lead to a bad mood. I used to be bitching on myself because I did something wrong, or this or that I didn't manage as I was supposed to do. And honestly, it took a long time, eventually years, before I realized that that unpleasant event in my life that I considered mistake brought me to knowledge and built in me instead of taking off as I thought before. There is a phrase from a book called Atomic Habits that explains it really well, and it says, "This is the feedback loop behind all human behavior. Try, fail, learn, try differently." I leave link down in the description if you want to check on the book. That made me think mistake is not an event or happening by itself. It's only one part of the loop. I've outlined a few categories in which I implemented this way of thinking, and here is why I've decided to eliminate the word mistake from my dictionary. 1. Relationships. When I was in kindergarten, I met the first boy I liked. He moved eventually, so I didn't see him for a while. And a couple of years later, so I was still a child anyway, something interesting happened. Okay, you tell me if that ever happened to you as well. Imagine to simply like someone, as me in this case, or even be in a relationship with someone for a period of time and say later on, after a few years or months, you think about the same person and the thought that comes is, oh my god, how could have I possibly liked this? I experienced this feeling for first time with the boy from kindergarten and every single time after when I liked someone. The worst is that every single time I felt ashamed by my choice and I consider it as a mistake, and looking at the past, I just wanted to change it, if not erase it from my memory. It took me 30 plus years to realize someone I considered unattractive or not for me right now is such because I've built on that previous experience of feelings I've had. It was my deliberate choice once, true, but so it was moving on and coming here where I am right now. Career. I had a short experience in a luxury fashion brand when I was living in Milan immediately after I've graduated.
Okay, maybe not exactly immediately, after this moment anyway.
The position was in product development and they needed an intern for a few months. At the beginning, I was so excited finally to have access to work in the fashion industry.
I was happy to be the running girl.
But wow, soon my enthusiasm was gone. My colleagues wasn't really nice, wasn't at all nice actually, when I think now, and literally every single day I felt anxious, sad and suffocating to go to work, and in the evening I felt like crying. There was no working hours for when you finish. It could be 7 p.m, 10 p.m, as 1 a.m, Saturday and Sunday obviously included. I lasted 2 months there, and one day I just couldn't make myself going. I've considered it such a big mistake accepting to work in that place, and that feeling of bad experience persisted for months. Eventually I got another job, but in different country, and my experience there was much better. A few years later, working in healthier environment, looking back to my first job, I've realized there is no bad experience, but only experience. I've implemented without knowing that try, fail, learn, try differently. And yes, some things you cannot control, as an example who your boss or colleague will be and how they would speak to you or how much your workflow would be. However, you can control your reaction, to speak up, to let go, to maybe leave this company and make the right questions next time you go to a job interview. The thing I didn't know back then, after I've graduated, is that it's not only them, employer, that must choose me, but also me should choose them. And knowing, because I experienced it, what I don't want told me what I do want. A wardrobe. Even to me, it happened to put together an outfit that I would never do now. I remember I had this beautiful high waist, light lilac color pant. I still have, by the way. And I wore it at work with a crop t-shirt, kind of the same nuance of color, but few shades darker. I remember it was looking like a splash of color on me. Not balanced at all, but honestly, I realized it only later on in the day when I was already in the office. I didn't like the combo because it was simply not my style. There was no visual balance and proportion in terms of color. Yes, it was something to consider a mistake, something to never repeat. However, I owned it and passed the day in the office with the same outfit. And I want to say, it's okay to make mistakes in your wear, especially when you're younger, because how otherwise you would know what is that you like and what is that you don't like. Building a style is different than buying clothes or wearing them. I have another video coming about that called Build a Personality Before You Build Your Wardrobe, in which I explain better what a style is and how to find yours. So subscribe for my channel to not miss it. Daily life. Here are included all the small daily things we might do and regret later on. In this section, I put all daily, how can I call them? Things, happenings, little things that could swing your mood. Like an example, maybe you spilled the coffee on the floor in the morning when hurrying up, and instead of sweating and thinking that now you have to be even more in a hurry to not miss your train, try to think, okay, I take next train, or I'm so happy to clean it immediately and come home later into a clean space. Or maybe this experience told you that you simply need more time in the morning for yourself and you haven't realized it by this moment. Another example could be simply job raise you wanted to ask your boss for. Somehow you didn't manage to get it because your boss always had the right answer not to give it to you, and now you're playing in your mind what you should have answered and feeling the bitterness of your mistake. Instead, maybe check online for coaching classes that provide this kind of training related to work environment, build up in your mind the confidence you will have all you want, and then try this new, different approach. Or maybe, alternatively, this would motivate you to look for another job, and not having this pay raise becomes the skyrocket motivation for it. Honestly, there would be countless number of small happenings every day. It's only up to you to decide if seeing them as mistakes or switch your mind to a place that makes you feel better. I'm so happy you stayed until this moment of the video. You should know you made my day every time I see a like, subscription or a comment. If I could leave you with a message, it would be grateful you've been born. You haven't been born by mistake, because simply mistakes doesn't exist. There is only experience, and you're the living experience of your actions.